guys, it's Miss Fessler, and today I'm joining you from my back porch. Usually you come to see me in the library, and unfortunately this week that's just not been able to happen. So this week I decided I would do library with you from the comfort of my couch on my back porch. Now, why, Miss Fessler, did you choose your back porch? Well, I thought real hard this week about if I was to come and see all of my kids at Lookout Mountain School, if I was to send them a video, where would I do that video? And I decided I would do it probably from my favorite spot in my whole house. And that spot just happens to be my back porch. My family loves to sit out here. I love to sit out here in the mornings with a cup of coffee and one of my favorite books. My family loves to eat out here for dinner. We love to come out here and play board games or do puzzles or just even sit and just chat. It just always seems like this is just a comfortable spot and has always been a favorite spot. So I decided to come here today. Last week was really weird, wasn't it? We were home. We weren't at school. We were doing school at home. If you're like my kids, we turned our entire dining room into a classroom, and that was just different and strange, and it felt weird. But you know what? We made it. Somehow we survived. And we got our work done. I'm proud of you. And I want you to know that. Give yourselves a pat on the back. Because you learned a lot of new things last week. A lot of things that were hard. Well, I got to thinking, I really wanted to read a book to you. And so I got to thinking, what is a book that I could share? And I decided that I would share this story right here. Now, if you know me, I tell you just about every book that I pull out, this is my favorite book. And, well, it's kind of true, because I love all the books. It's hard to say one's my favorite or not, but this book really is one of my favorites. This book is called Going Someplace Special. It's by Patricia McKissick, and it's illustrated by Jerry Pinkney. And if you look down here at the bottom, you might notice something that we've been talking about. What is that? You're right. This book has won an award. You're right. All right. I'll give a special 5 points to anybody who can tell me what award this is. Do you remember? Is it the Caldecott for Best Pictures? Or is it the Newbery for Best Story? Or is it the Coretta Scott King? Yep, that's the one. This is the Coretta Scott King Award. Remember, this is the book award that's given in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King's wife, Coretta Scott King. So this book won her award. Now, this book, the reason I chose it is because in this book, this little girl's going through something weird and strange and kind of hard, kind of like we have this week. And in the end, this little girl ends up finding her someplace special, her favorite place. Kind of like I'm here on my back porch from my favorite place to share with you, she found a special place too. And so as I read this story to you today, I just want you to think about that. Think about where is your favorite spot. Maybe it's in your neighborhood, maybe it's in your backyard, maybe it's a spot in your house, maybe you have a little corner carved out of your bedroom that's your favorite spot. Maybe it's just maybe it's your grandmother's house. Maybe it could be anywhere, but just think about that spot. Maybe you're able to visit it this week. Maybe, like everyone else seems that we've got to stay close to home. Maybe you're not able, and that's okay too. But just think about that spot. And just think about, as I read this story, think about the little girl in the story. Her name is Trisha Ann. You know what else is neat about this story? It's true. Yeah, this little girl right here, Trisha Ann, it's actually the author. Her name is Patricia McKissick, but her grandmother used to call her Trisha Ann. And so this story is about her. It's kind of like an autobiography, which I know second grade, we've talked about biography, and third, fourth, and fifth, you've heard that word too. An autobiography is when you, the author, write about your own life. So she's written a little bit about her own life and her own upbringing in this story. So I think I'll share it with you. Now, this is something I've never really done before, so I'm learning and I'm doing my best. So just bear with me. I'll try to make it where you can see the pictures okay. All right, Going Someplace Special by Patricia McKissick and Jerry Pinkney. Oh, And it's got an AR quiz too. So if you want to take the AR quiz, you can. Oh, and very cool. Look at here. This book was also donated for Grandparents' Day in honor of Sally Sachs. So cool. Sally, we're reading your book. All right. Trisha Ann was about to burst with excitement. Crossing her fingers and closing her eyes, she blurted out her question. Mama Frances, may I go to someplace special by myself today? Pretty please. I know where to get off the bus and what streets to take and all. Although it had another name, Trisha Ann always called it someplace special because it was her favorite spot in the whole world. Please, may I go? Pretty please, with marshmallows on top. I don't know if I'm ready to turn you loose in the world, Mama Frances answered, trying to tie the sash of Trisha Ann's dress. Going off alone is a mighty big step. I'm ready, the girl said, taking a giant leap across the floor. See what a big step I can take? All right, y'all. Again, I'm doing my best. Mama Frances chuckled, all the time studying her granddaughter's face. Let's see if I can get the picture in here. I trust you'll be particular and remember everything I've told you. I will, Trisha Ann said, real confident-like. Suddenly, her smile grew into a full grin. So you're saying I can go? Well, I reckon, but you best hurry on before I change my mind. Pulling her pocketbook up on her shoulder, Trisha Ann blew her grandmother a thank you kiss. Then she rushed out the door and down the sidewalk. And no matter what, Mama Frances called after her, you hold your head up high and you act like you belong to somebody. So there's the picture. I wonder where Trisha Ann might want to go. Guess we'll have to keep reading and find out. At the corner, a green and white bus came to a jerky stop, and it hissed. When the doors folded back, Trisha Ann bounded up the steps and dropped in the fare, same as when Mama Frances was with her. What do you think it means by fare? It's F-A-R-E, not like F-A-I-R, like that's not fair that I don't get to do this. F-A-R-E would be like payment. So she had to pay something to get onto the bus. The girl squared her shoulders, walked to the back, and took a seat behind the Jim Crow sign that said colored section. And so you can see in the picture right there, at the very top it says colored section. Well, I think I can already tell that Trisha Ann lives in a different time than we live in today. They had different rules then. We've talked about that. We've talked about some of those rules, especially when we studied Martin Luther King Jr. We talked about some of those unfair things. Well, Trisha Ann lived in that period too. Trisha Ann had seen such signs all her life. She recalled the first time she and Mama Frances had taken the bus ride, and her grandmother had told her, "Those signs can tell us where to sit, but they can't tell us what to think." I'm going to think about someplace special, Trisha Ann said to herself, and turned to look out the window. Stop by stop, the bus began to fill. At the farmer's market, people crowded on, carrying bags of fruits and vegetables. Mrs. Granell, Mama Frances's friend from Sewing Club, climbed on board. As she inched her way toward the back, Trisha Ann noticed that there were no seats left behind the Jim Crow sign. So she stood up and gave Mrs. Granell her seat. It's not fair, she said. Now this time, fair is F-A-I-R, just like you would say, oh, that's not fair if I don't get to do something. So that word is used twice in here, but it has two different meanings. That's not fair, she said, glaring at the empty seats up front. See if I can get the picture in there for you. No, but that's the way it is, honey, said Mrs. Granell. I don't understand why, she began, but by now the bus had reached Trisha Ann's stop in front of Capitol Square in the heart of downtown. The door swung open and she hurried off. Carry yourself proud, Mrs. Granell called out the window as the bus pulled away. Holding her hat, Tricia Ann leaned back as far as she could to see Peace Fountain's magnificent water show. It made her dizzy to watch the sprays that shot high into the air, but she liked the feeling and turned round and round with her arms outstretched. Then, giggling, she staggered on wobbly legs to a nearby bench. Instantly, Tricia Ann leaped to her feet. On the bench was a sign that said, "For whites only." Her face fell, and she wished for Mama Frances's strong hand to hold. "Silly signs," she muttered as she strutted away on sober legs. At the edge of the square, she greeted Jimmy Lee, a street vendor. "What's got your face all clouded up like a stormy day?" he asked, handing Tricia Ann a free pretzel. "Jim Crow makes me so mad," she said. "My grandfather was a stonemason on Peace Fountain. Why can't I sit down and enjoy it?" Jimmy Lee pointed to a sign in Monroe's restaurant window. He said, "My brother cooks all the food they serve, but do you think we can sit at one of their tables and have a BLT and a cup of coffee together?" Then with a chuckle he whispered, "Not that I'd even want to eat anything that my brother Jesse cooks. That man can't even scald water." The light changed and Tricia Ann carefully started across the street. "Don't let those steins steal your happiness," Jimmy Lee called after her. Tricia Ann pulled her shoulders back and fixed her thoughts on being inside that warm and welcoming place where there were no signs. Hurrying up 10th Avenue, she passed the filling station and she stopped to buy a pop to wash down Jimmy Lee's pretzel. "What's a pop?" You're right. It's a drink. It's kind of like a soda. Maybe it's like a Coke or a Dr. Pepper or a Sprite, something like that. Yeah, here in the South we all call it Coke, right? At the second light, the Southland Hotel rose up in front of her, as spectacular as a palace. Mr. John Willis, the hotel's doorman, saw her. "I believe an angel done slipped away from heaven," he said, smiling. Tricia Ann managed to smile back. Mr. John Willis always said the nicest things. "No, sir, it's just me." "Your mouth is smiling, but your eyes aren't," he said. Have you ever had that happen before? Where your mouth is smiling, but your eyes aren't? Maybe this week's done that to you. Like I said, it's been kind of strange. But it's okay. We've gotten through it, right? And we'll get through this week too. Just then, a long white car with 2 police escorts pulled up in front of the hotel. A man with black shiny hair and shy eyes stepped out. Suddenly, people were everywhere, screaming and begging for his autograph. Tricia Ann got caught in the crowd and swept inside. So often, she wondered what it would feel like to walk on the royal red carpet that covered the double winding staircase, or to stand in the light of the chandelier that looked like a million diamonds strung together. Now, there she was, smack in the middle of the Southland Hotel's grand lobby. And so here it is. Somebody pointed at her. What is she doing in here? It seemed as if the whole world had stopped talking, stopped moving, and was staring at her. The manager pushed his way to the front of the crowd. What makes you think you can come inside? No colored people are allowed. And he shooed the girl away with his arms. Tricia Ann backed out, shaking her head. I didn't mean, she said, trying very hard not to cry. My goodness, I hope she finds her someplace special soon. She's kind of had a hard day, hasn't she? Hurrying past Mr. John Willis, Tricia Ann ran straight into the Mission Church ruins, where Mama Frances often stopped to rest. There, in the protection of the walled garden, the girl let the tears come. Getting to someplace special, it just isn't worth it, she sobbed. I'm going home. My flowers have been watered already, came a voice above her. It was Blooming Mary, an elderly woman who took care of the garden with neither permission nor pay. Everybody said she was addled, but Mama Frances didn't agree. Blooming Mary is a kind and gentle soul, she told Tricia Ann. Are you lost, child? The woman asked. Trying to steady her voice, Tricia Ann answered, No, ma'am, I just wish my grandmother was here to help me to get to someplace special. You can't get there by yourself? It's too hard. I need my grandmother. Blooming Mary nodded and thought on the matter, and then she said, I believe your granny is here. just as my granny is here with me, even as I speak. Listen close. Tell me what you hear. All Trisha Ann heard was the distant buzz of a bumblebee. What was Blooming Mary talking about? But as she listened closer, she began to hear her grandmother's steady voice. You are somebody, a human being, no better, no worse than anybody else in this world. Getting someplace special is not an easy route. But don't study on quitting. Just keep walking straight ahead and you'll make it. Trisha Ann recalled these words from many conversations they'd had in this quiet place. They were so comforting, she didn't feel alone anymore. She wiped her eyes and straightened her hat. You were right, ma'am, the girl told Blooming Mary. Mama Frances is here, and she wouldn't want me to turn back. So you aren't lost after all, said Blooming Mary, giving Trisha Ann a bright orange zinnia. No, ma'am, I'm not. And saying goodbye, she headed real determined like on her way. 2 blocks later, Trisha Ann came to the Grand Music Palace, where a group had gathered for the matinee performance. As the girl approached, a little voice spoke to her. Howdy, I'm Hickey, and I'm 6 years old today. You coming in? Before Trisha Ann could answer, an older girl grabbed his hand. Hush, boy, she said through clenched teeth. Colored people can't come in the front door. They got to go round back and sit up in the buzzard's roost. Don't you know nothing? His sister whispered harshly. Hickey looked at Trisha Ann with wide, wondering eyes. Are you going to sit up there? In the last 3 rows of the balcony? Why, I wouldn't sit up there even if watermelons bloomed in January. Besides, I'm going somewhere very, very special, she answered, and then Trisha Ann skipped away. I want to go where she's going, she heard Hickey say as his sister pulled him through the door. At the corner, Trisha saw a building rising above all that surrounded it, looking proud in the summer sun. It was much more than bricks and stone. It was an idea. Mama Frances called it a doorway to freedom. And when she looked at it, she didn't feel angry or hurt or embarrassed. At last, she whispered, I've made it to some place special. Where do you think she's made it to? It just looks like a building. I wonder what's so special about this building. Before bounding up the steps and through the front door, Trisha Ann stopped to look at the message chiseled in stone across the front facing. Public Library. All are welcome. So the building she wanted to go to, her someplace special. And I see it right here. Public Library. All are welcome. That's where she wanted to go. Was she turned away there? No. It says all are welcome. You know how much I love the library, so I bet you can probably see why this is one of my favorite books. Well, boys and girls, like I said, I know this was a little bit different, but I want to keep reading to you because I need to read to someone too, and it makes me happy to read to you. So if this is the way I get to read to you, then that's just going to have to be okay for now. Don't forget, it does have an AR quiz down here at the bottom, so if you would like to go on and take a quiz, go right ahead. I am watching all of your AR totals, and I want to say good job. I'm seeing a lot of you taking quizzes at home, so I'm really proud of you for keeping up your reading and keeping up taking your AR quizzes. So good job. All right, kiddos, until next time, I hope you have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed the story today. Bye.